All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the incredible, frankly mind-blowing engineering that transforms a humble, dirty potato pulled straight from the ground into literally one of the most recognizable foods on planet Earth, the McDonald's French fry. It's not just cooking. We're talking about high-tech, staggering engineering here.
Because get this, every single second, millions of these fries are served globally. Millions. Every single second. You can't exactly rely on a couple of cooks with peeling knives in a back kitchen to handle that kind of volume, right? No way. Meaning that staggering demand requires a highly synchronized, almost sci-fi level manufacturing process that spans all the way from rural farms to cutting-edge factories and perfectly calibrated supply chains all over the world.
So we're going to follow this entire journey chronologically across 5 main phases: the potato harvest, precision peeling and cutting, the chemistry of crispiness, freezing and global logistics, and finally wrapping up with the final golden fry.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the potato harvest. Think of this whole operation like a massive, high-stakes relay race. We are moving through 4 totally distinct environments. It starts at the farm, zooms straight through a high-tech factory, plunges into extreme freezers, and finally lands right in the restaurant fryer. And the kicker? Every single phase relies entirely on the absolute perfection of the one right before it. So out in the fields, the sheer volume totally dictates how things are done. We're talking massive, modern agricultural machinery pulling the harvest from the earth to be quickly transported over to processing plants. But here is where the traditional farm story gets kind of futuristic. These potatoes are washed and sorted under the intense, watchful eyes of AI-powered cameras. Yeah, artificial intelligence. It's not human eyes doing the sorting at this scale, it's AI making absolutely sure that only the right potatoes make it to the next phase. Moving right along to Section 2, precision peeling and cutting. Now, you've probably wondered this at some point while hitting the drive-thru. Considering potatoes come out of the dirt in all sorts of unpredictable, lumpy, bumpy sizes, how on earth do these fries always end up looking exactly the same shape? Well, the answer definitely isn't a giant factory filled with folks holding potato peelers. Actually, it starts with intense steam peeling. We're talking a violent blast of hot steam that perfectly strips the skins right off in a flash just to minimize waste. Then, immediately after, they're basically fired like little rockets at high speeds through specialized cutting grids. It's pure high-velocity physics that guarantees every single fry gets that iconic, uniform shape we all recognize. Which brings us to Section 3. The chemistry of crispiness. So what is the actual secret behind that perfect crispy texture? You might assume it just comes down to frying a raw potato really, really well at your local spot. But honestly, the real foundation of that crunch is built way earlier, in a super specific chemical preparation phase that happens right inside the factory. The real MVP here is a process called blanching. Basically, it's a highly controlled hot water bath that scientifically alters the very surface of the potato. It guarantees an even golden color, so you don't end up with dark, unappetizing fries, and it fundamentally changes the cellular structure on the outside. All of this happens before it ever even sees bubbling oil. But wait, blanching is really just step 1. It's immediately followed by some intense, rigorous drying. And getting rid of that excess moisture is absolutely critical here because, well, water is basically the ultimate enemy of crispiness. Once they're bone dry, they get a light pre-frying in vegetable oil. Now, this isn't to fully cook them. It's just to lock in that modified outer layer, literally sealing in the potential for that future crunch. It's a perfectly calculated 1-2-3 punch of food science.
All right, on to Section 4, freezing and global logistics.
Now, this part seems totally counterintuitive, doesn't it? Why are the fries frozen before they actually reach the restaurants? I mean, you just spent all this effort perfectly blanching, carefully drying, and delicately pre-frying them. Why abruptly hit pause and freeze them solid? Wouldn't fresh just be better? Actually, as it turns out, freezing is kind of the magic pause button. Massive industrial freezing systems rapidly lock in that super delicate chemical balance we just created during the pre-fry stage. If they didn't do this, the internal moisture would totally ruin that crispy exterior while they were in transit. By packaging and shipping them in extreme cold storage, the supply chain ensures that a fry served in Tokyo has the exact same structural integrity and precise texture as a fry served in New York.
And finally, Section 5, the final golden fry.
This is where the magic finally comes together. That deep, rapid freeze is finally broken by a plunge into the intensely hot restaurant fryers. This final cooking activates all that incredible pre-frying and blanching work that was done miles away back at the factory. The result? A perfectly golden, crispy fry. From there, it's just a matter of precise salting, thorough quality checks by the crew, and then, at long last, serving the finished fries to customers. The entire multi-continental journey comes to a head in just those final few minutes in the hot oil.
The original source behind this journey really leaves us with a great point. Understanding the massive scale behind our everyday items requires us to actively keep looking behind the process. There is just so much invisible engineering in the world around us, literally hiding in plain sight right inside a fast food bag.
So, what does this all mean for you? How does this change your perspective the next time you order? Just knowing that a simple potato requires AI cameras for sorting, violent blasts of steam for peeling, strict chemical blanching, and global industrial rapid freezing all just to become a fast food side dish, it really goes to show that the hidden world of manufacturing is always way more advanced and honestly way more fascinating than we give it credit for. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your curiosity hungry.